Good afternoon. Good to be here. Um, Very happy to have worked through the first, as we call it, the stack of practices, training camp practices, and very encouraged, very excited about the way that the players are competing, the way that they're working, and training camp is more than what we see on the field. I mean, there are the meetings, the installation meetings, all of the time that they spend with our coaches in unit meetings, in position meetings. All those things are conspiring together to build the product that we want, the product that we believe we can have, and very encouraging with the progress that we've seen so far. So excited about. I think we've got a 1 day off for the guys. We'll step back and look at everything that we've done, and as a coaching staff, just identify some areas that we can improve with the players, give them some feedback with respect to that. Look at ourselves critically and get ready for the next stack. With that, I'll take your questions.
Eric Tremaine said the other day that he's really sensed a belief in this defense about how good they can be. I'm curious, as you came in and got to know kind of the DNA of this group, what you observed in that sense in terms of the confidence they have that can kind of propel them.
Well, I identified that and saw that early on and during the off season when we started to really transition out to the field and we started working together and we got out of the classroom phase and it's definitely there. There's a confidence there, but there's also a humility and an understanding that everything that we get, we're going to have to earn. We're going to have to earn. We're going to have to work for it every single day and be excited, have confidence, but at the same time, maintain a certain level of humility to just know we need to continue to push ourselves. So that confidence is definitely there.
What's impressed you most, would you say, in the first 4 practices on defense? I know obviously it's not contact or pads or anything.
The conditioning level of the guys. They did a tremendous job, along with our strength and conditioning staff, of getting themselves ready to practice during training camp. And that's no small feat because we have to endure the reps and the quick turnaround. And so the conditioning has been outstanding. Credit to the players and credit to their investment. And now you can see that in the form of their effort. I mean, we're running to the ball, especially on the backside, and just really impressed with that.
Austin Booker's getting the reps with the first team D line. Is that kind of experimental, or is there something he did in the offseason program that kind of earned him that kind of look?
Yeah, right now it's just more of a function of the way we're rotating them right now, and just trying to make sure that we give him exposure, but at the same time we continue to build him and move him at a pace that we think is reasonable for his long term development. And Travis and Brian do a great job of organizing that rotation. Of course, we want to get him exposure, get him on the field with Tremaine, with the other veteran defensive linemen, but it's really just a function of the rotation.
Any early impressions? I know it's early, obviously, really early, but anything worth mentioning as far regarding Booker, what he's done?
Yeah, there's a lot of positives. Yesterday was really the first day that we could kind of turn up the pass rush a little bit because we've been uh, kind of working the tempo, if you will. And not that, we're not in pads yet, but I saw a lot of things that I'm really excited about his hand usage, his ability to counter, and with a pass rusher, especially a young player, just a mindset. He's competing out there and he's competing to win. He's got one objective in mind, and that's to put himself in position to hit the quarterback. So I'm really excited to see that.
Is Jacob Martin would go full speed because he played in a similar scheme with Lovey previously in Houston, and how do you evaluate him?
Jacob, great speed and quickness, very athletic. He's an excellent space player, but he's really sturdy at the point of attack. And so those types of things you really need to have. So, I mean, we can anticipate his role being as a 3 down defender. So far as a right defensive end, he's doing a nice job. He has and then the other thing with him, Brad, is just the way that he comes out early to practice every day by himself, and he just starts to mentally tune himself up to go out and put forth the kind of practice he wants to have, to establish himself as the kind of rusher we need him to be.
When pads go on Friday, Saturday, and then you get into that next week, how long does it take you to really evaluate what kind of depth you got for rushing the passer after your Montez, D-Block?
Yeah, well, as far as some of the guys that we're really evaluating, and just really the entire group, the first day won't make or break that. I mean, it just won't. I mean, it's been a long time since this group has played tackle football. I mean, and so the first day won't make or break it, but after the first 2 or 3 practices, I'll have a pretty good sense of where the group is. And also, we can identify where we need to kind of grow and who needs what specific work and what we need to focus and hone on in terms of trying to develop the depth. So I'm not making any absolute statements after the first 2 or 3 days, but what we want to do is just make sure we know what we need to do as a staff to develop the depth that we believe we have. If they're here, there's a reason why they're here.
As you've gotten to know Dexter, what's the first thing that jumps out about just his ability on the field?
And focus. The focus. I mean, when Dexter comes on the practice field every day, when he comes into the meeting, for a young player, he's got blinders on. I mean, he is really focused on himself, what he needs to do in that particular practice. We kind of preview what we're going to do on the field the day before. And so I can see that he is taking that meeting outside to the grass. And when he comes into the meeting, he's ready to go. And so the level of focus that he has as a second-year player is pretty uncommon.
The way he's remade his body this offseason, I know you weren't here.
Right.
But what do you make of just the amount of discipline it takes to do that?
For that, you just said it speaks to his level of discipline, his desire to want to be a starter and a highly productive starter, to go away and to stay away and to be to his own devices and have to manage that part of the off season in terms of, what you consume, how you work, what type of investment you make and what. Really impressed with that, and it's paying off for him. He's quicker. And I have the film to kind of look back, but I wasn't here, but I have the film to kind of evaluate and assess and compare where he was last year as opposed to right now.
Coach, now that you've had time to get to know these players and the personnel up front, what do you envision this pass rush will look like? We haven't seen them in pads, but what are the specialties that you think you can draw out of this group of personnel specifically?
Right. Well, what my vision, I mentioned the very first day I walked into this room that we want to build the best pass rush in the NFL, and that means a pass rush that's consistently effective and that can be relied upon with just 4 guys, affecting the quarterback, hits, sacks, sack fumbles, making the quarterback throw off schedule so we can take advantage of the exceptional secondary that we have. And so there's an individual component to that, and then there's the group component. They have to rush together. They have to understand how to communicate, how to install and affect the different rush concepts that we believe will fit that particular situation. And we got to be relentless. We have to be relentless. And I'm seeing that right now, some really positive signs of that as we've gotten through the first 4 practices.
What stood out to you about the 2-minute drill with the #1 defense in terms of stopping the offense on, I think it was 3 plays at the 6th?
Right. I mean, it's a gut check. It's a gut check. And listen, you can be in great shape in terms of preparing for training camp, but once you get out on the football field and you're going through individual period, you're going through special teams for those who are involved in that, and you're actually practicing scrimmage plays, that's a different level of conditioning. And so, you're going to see guys that are in great shape get tired playing, competing and playing pro football. And so they have to dig down deep. They've done that. The communication has to be there. You can't give in or yield to that because it's a critical situation. We've got to find a way to close out the game.
Eric Gordon mentioned yesterday that he has aspirations of either being All-Pro, Pro Bowl. In your time coaching him, the brief time, how do you see his play improving or going to that level?
Yeah, well, the fact that he established that as a priority, as a goal, I would not bet against him accomplishing that. So it first starts with, wanting to accomplish that specifically, and then backing that up with the type of work and investment and the mindset that you have to make that a reality. And when I look at Kyler, I just left a pretty good nickel in Buffalo, and this young man is he's got all of the talent, the tools, the mindset, the intelligence to be as good as he wants to be and to be in the discussion of All Pro and Pro Bowler. I certainly would not bet against that happening.
Because you've had your hands on Montez, whether it be this camp or even in the offseason program, what's changed or evolved about what you thought about him as a player, what you thought about his skill set now that you've been up close with him?
Well, he's stronger. He's a lot stronger than I perceived him to be. Very strong player. He understands how to use his length. Montez is a quick study. what we're doing defensively is different than what he's done in his career. There's some different subtleties and different things, and he's a quick study. He's paying attention. He's picking things up, and he's not afraid, or he's not hesitant. I shouldn't use the word afraid, to ask questions and to say, listen, I want to get this right. What does this mean to me, and how does it fit into the overall construct? So I just love his professional approach. He's extremely talented physically, and then that's a great base and foundation to have, but you got to combine that with some other things. And so,
What are the main differences of things that he's doing now that he hasn't been asked to do previously?
well, without getting into to specifics as far as scheme is concerned, we want to have flexibility. I'll say this: we want flexibility with where we can align him, and we want to utilize his skill set against the offensive line and not just specific to one position. And so,
Gotcha.
So I like first of all, I really appreciate the fact that he's embracing that challenge and just everything that he's doing to just make his game as well-rounded as possible.
How do you size up what's next for Jalen now that he's reached this level? He told us the other day he doesn't want to be second team All-Pro. He wants to be first team All-Pro.
Right.
For a corner who's accomplished so much in 1 year, how do you set goals and I guess check marks for him to reach that next level?
Well, Jalen spoke to that himself, and the thing that comments that he made that I was aware of. Jalen wants to win, and he's accomplished some things individually, but he wants to win. He's solidified himself as one of the top players at his position in pro football, and now it's about taking what he can do and bringing the leadership, bringing the production, and pushing our defensive unit toward an elite status. And so, every time I speak to him, that's what I hear from him, and he knows that we need him to be on the high end of certain production qualities and just continue to provide that leadership and the direction that he's capable of doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, guys.